Oh, goody.
Alright, what's going on, everybody? Zombies here again, and we are back with another heroic guide. This one's going to be for the first of the new heroic bounties, Smolderwing. Smolderwing is actually a little bit unique because not only is there one equipment unlock tied to him, but there are actually two. So we can see I actually have Nefarion and Deathwing in the party here. Both of their third unlocks here are tied to doing this bounty on heroic. So you can actually do it at the same time because this bounty is not that hard. I was able to clear through the bounty and the boss with just the fire comp without losing a unit. And yeah, it was pretty simple. So you can actually just throw both Nefarion and Deathwing in your backbench, and that way you'll get this done at the same time. You won't have to do it basically twice with one of them in the party. Just throw them both in there, and that way you will be able to just get it done as fast as possible. So I used Fire Comp for this. Fire Comp seems really good against a lot of these bosses, and it's really not much harder in Heroic, in my opinion, at least this one. So for this one, we are using the Blazing Rune on Ragnaros for that extra damage. You probably could use Sulfurous if you're finding yourself dying more often, but the fire damage is really nice. Belinda with the Water Elemental. It's just convenient having a freeze on hand. Again, this one isn't really required. You could probably get away with the fire elemental too, but as long as you have one of the elementals, you should be good. And then Baron Mark of Conflagration, just making this big AoE do even more damage. We do have Chi-Ji on the bench here just as another fire unit in case one of our guys ends up dying during the boss fight. It is not required to use Chi-Ji here though. You could probably throw in something else like Antonidas, even maybe Anixia if you have her leveled a bit. Basically any fire unit that gets benefit from your fire damage and fire treasures and all that stuff will be good here. So this is just kind of a backup slot if we lose a unit. And then we do have Nefarion and Deathwing in the back here. Doesn't matter if you have these characters at like level 1 or lower leveled, and you can see I don't even have the abilities leveled up very much. But that's okay, we're not really going to be using them in the fight and stuff. They just need to be in your party to get the reward. So do know that when you're going into the bounty, you must have them in the party, otherwise you will not get their equipment unlocked upon beating the bounty. So that is our team comp here. We are going to get into the bounty. Before we do, if you enjoy the content, do remember to like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel a lot and keeps the Mercs videos coming. So without further ado, let's get into the bounty. Alright, so speed it up here as usual, but this heroic bounty, actually getting to it was not bad at all. In my opinion, this is actually way easier than Alterac Valley, and the fire comp pretty much makes short work of this. The only thing you do have to be a little bit careful here is sometimes on the fights where you see 3 of the same unit, they can kind of focus down one of your guys. Like the first time I did this fight, like the fight right before the boss was triple greens, and they focused down Baron, and it was annoying, and I had to reset. But generally, if that happens, it's not a bad idea just to throw one of your bench units out there to kind of act as like a sacrificial lamb, take the damage for that one fight, and beat it with your other 2 guys. But it's really not that hard. I think these are actually some of the easier heroic regular fights. So fire comp should be able to get you there, no problem. In terms of treasures, you really just want to focus on fire damage and elemental health. Another one that is also a really good treasure to grab if you see it is the Ragnaros one. I think Geddon has it too, where whenever you cast a fire spell, it actually deals damage with like a fireball, and that one's really powerful. So if you see that along the way, definitely end up going for it. But yeah, this one's pretty simple. These fights aren't too bad, and you should be able to get through it pretty quickly with the fire comp. Got our spirit healer there, but we didn't even really need it, as didn't lose a unit this time, which is very nice. And we're just gonna beat this fight, and then we will be at the boss. So make quick work of these guys, and it is time for the boss fight. Alright, and we are at the boss here. Smolderwing. Fire damage sets enemies on fire. Deal 5 damage to themselves after they cast an ability. And these whelps here, whenever this attacks a target that's on fire, consumes those flames and gets a little bit of extra stats. So we're going to be using the fire comp for this, like we did through the rest of the bounty. And then Chi-Ji is a little bit of backup, just in case one of our units ends up dying. We got some pretty decent treasures on this run. Basically, just go for that fire damage anywhere you can and elemental health, and that'll kind of help you along the way. I don't think it's 100% necessary or anything, but it is helpful. And then we have this little spawn here that has the stone and maw. All allies gain +5 damage reduction and 5 attack until end of turn, so that's going to help us absorb a little bit of this damage here. So strategy here, I think, is just we're taking out these ads, and then we will finish off the boss afterwards. It's going to become immune to attacks, so we're actually not going to swing with the elemental. So we're getting a little bit of extra damage there from one of our treasures, which is always nice. And from here, it should be pretty easy. Nice. And yeah, we should be able to clean it up this turn. Sweet. We can actually get our freeze off this turn, which is nice. And we'll meteor them for good measure. So yeah, this boss really isn't that hard. I did lose the first attempt, but that's because Baron died literally on the last fight before the boss. So that made things a little bit harder. But as long as you get here with your full fire comp, it shouldn't be too bad for you. Extra treasures can definitely help out, but I don't think they're required or anything. But they definitely made that fight a little bit easier. So we're going to get our rewards here. And this is actually the only heroic bounty with 2 rewards, as we're going to see here. Also, we got some decent Deathwing coins, which is always nice to see. Boom. We get our Nefarion equipment, spare parts. And then we get our Deathwing equipment, Demon Soul. So that's pretty sweet. Pretty happy about this. And yeah, that is how we get these new equipment unlocks for 2 of the new mercenaries. So that is going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed it, do remember to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.